All right, let's jump right into this explainer and unpack the messy, dramatic, and honestly fascinating saga of our solar system's greatest mystery. For over a century, astronomers were haunted by this ghost in the cosmos, a massive, hidden world lurking in the dark edges of our neighborhood. They called it Planet X. And the true story of how it was hunted, found, and ultimately destroyed is easily one of the most incredible tales in modern science.
The universe is 13.8 billion years old, vast, ancient, and mostly invisible. And somewhere out there are answers to questions that keep scientists awake at night. Welcome to our channel, where we explore the darkest corners of the cosmos, the mysteries, the threats, the unknown. This is space like you've never seen it before.
But before we get bogged down in the physics, we have to ask a pretty crazy question. How on earth did a simple mechanical error lead to the discovery and the eventual death of our solar system's most famous dwarf planet? We're going to treat this historical anomaly like a cosmic true crime scene. We've got suspects, we've got false leads, brilliant detectives, and a plot twist that literally rewrote the map of our solar system. Act 1, the first planetary mystery. To really understand the hunt for Planet X, we actually have to go way back to the inciting incident that cracked our universe wide open. You see, for millennia, from cavemen looking up at the night sky all the way to the late 1700s, there were only 5 known planets: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. You could see them with the naked eye, and the universe seemed perfectly complete. Well, that is until a British astronomer named William Herschel accidentally spotted something new. He published his findings, and suddenly the scientific world just lost its mind. The ancient, perfectly numbered planetary system was shattered forever. Now, because Herschel was British, he naturally decided to name this monumental discovery after his boss, King George of England. And while naming a majestic gas giant George is pretty hilarious, thankfully clearer heads prevailed and we got Uranus. But the name wasn't the real issue here. The issue was that Uranus was acting up. As astronomers tracked its orbit, they quickly realized it wasn't following the mathematical path it was supposed to take. This put astronomers at a massive crossroads. It came down to 2 theories. Either Isaac Newton was wrong, and his famous laws of motion and gravity only worked close to Earth. Or, theory 2, there was another hidden planet out there in the dark, physically tugging on Uranus with its gravity. So, did we finally hit the limit of Newton's laws, or was there just a missing piece of the puzzle? Act 2. Math saves Newton's laws. A group of French mathematicians decided to bet the house on Newton. A brilliant guy named Leverrier sat down and calculated exactly where this mysterious tugging planet needed to be. He sends his math over to an observatory in Berlin. Astronomer Johann Galle points his telescope at that exact spot, and boom, he finds Neptune practically that very night in 1846. I mean, think about that for a second. They discovered an entire planet using nothing but a pen, some paper, and Isaac Newton's gravity equations. Just incredible. So a huge precedent was set right here. If an orbit wobbles, meaning it gets pulled off its predicted path, there has to be another planet out there gravity tugging on it. The science worked. But then, as astronomers tracked this brand new planet into the mid-1800s, panic set in. Neptune wasn't following Newton's laws perfectly either. It had its own wobble. And with that, the massive, unprecedented hunt for Planet X was officially on. Act 3. The hunt for Planet X. Now we enter the obsessive era of the search. The logic was simple. If Uranus's wobble meant Neptune, then Neptune's wobble meant a massive, undiscovered Planet X was out there pulling the strings. Enter Percival Lowell, a wealthy New Englander who absolutely threw his fortune at this mystery. He built the finest observatory in the world, smartly placing it up on a mountain in the dry Arizona desert to get above the clouds. He kicked off this massive, systematic photographic survey. But tragically, this tedious search outlived him, and he died without ever seeing his prize. But the Lowell Observatory didn't give up. A young astronomer named Clyde Tombaugh took over this totally soul-crushing night-after-night survey. And the process was brutally tedious. You take a photo of the night sky, you wait, you take another photo of the exact same spot later, and then you just stare, scanning thousands of tiny stars, hoping to spot a single dot of light that moved between the frames, proving it was an orbiting planet and not just a star. Then, in 1930, the world was shocked. A tiny dot moved. Planet X was real. They named it Pluto. Clyde Tombaugh actually loved to joke about this later on. When people asked how he found it, he'd smile and say, "I looked up in the sky and there was an arrow pointing to it." He kept that joke going for decades. But while he was laughing, the astronomical community was dead serious. They had finally found the massive object pulling on Neptune. Or so they thought. Act 4, The Problem with Pluto. The Planet X narrative felt perfectly wrapped up, but as the decades rolled on, the physics started whispering that something was very wrong. Originally, everyone just assumed Pluto was massive. It had to be, right? To perturb a gas giant like Neptune, you need serious gravity. But as our telescopes got better, we realized Pluto was mostly highly reflective ice. It just looked big and bright. Once we spotted a moon orbiting it, we could calculate Pluto's exact mass, and the result was a total gut punch to the Planet X theory. Pluto's mass was only 1/6 of our own moon. I mean, it was tiny. It was essentially a dirty ice ball, completely incapable of affecting Neptune's orbit in any measurable way. Eventually, astrophysicists, including folks like Neil deGrasse Tyson, kicked it out of the Planetary Club entirely. It was removed from the Hayden Planetarium's display in 2000 and officially demoted in 2006. But wait. That leaves a glaring plot hole. If Pluto wasn't pulling on Neptune, what the heck was? Suddenly, the mystery of Neptune's wobble was wide open again. Act 5, The Gearbox Plot Twist. And this brings us to the climax of this explainer. The true culprit wasn't hiding in a telescope, it was hiding in a filing cabinet. We have a wobbly planet, and zero suspects to blame it on. Enter a researcher named Miles Standish. Standish asked a brilliant, dangerous question about all those old observatory measurements. He thought, what if there is no hidden planet out there? What if the math is right, but the underlying data is just wrong? Standish went digging into the archives, painstakingly analyzing the historical data that condemned Neptune in the first place, and in the logs of the U.S. Naval Observatory, he found something wild. Sometime before the crucial measurements were taken, a completely mundane maintenance task happened. They cleaned and oiled the telescope's gearbox, but they forgot the golden rule of science. They failed to recalibrate the instrument afterward. That uncalibrated gearbox skewed all their tracking data just a tiny bit. So Standish runs an experiment. He says, what happens if I totally throw out the bad data from that specific uncalibrated telescope and just run the numbers with the reliable measurements? The result was opposite perfection. Neptune landed flawlessly on Newton's laws. Planet X just evaporated overnight. There was no massive gravitational pull, Neptune wasn't wobbling at all. The entire century-long hunt, the fortunes spent, the endless cold nights staring at photos, all of it was caused by bad data from a dirty gearbox. Conclusion: science on the frontier. So, what is the big takeaway from this incredible saga? Honestly, it perfectly captures the messy reality of being a scientist on the frontier. When you get weird, anomalous results, you're faced with an agonizing choice. Are you seeing a brand new law of physics? Are you seeing a hidden object manipulating your data? Or did someone just forget to calibrate the equipment? One mechanical error sent the entire world on a 100-year wild goose chase, proving just how much our understanding of nature relies on the absolute accuracy of our tools. Now, even though the historical case of Planet X is officially closed, the spirit of the hunt hasn't actually died. Today, we're seeing new anomalies way out in the extreme outer solar system. Objects with bizarre, elongated orbits out past Pluto are hinting that a real, massive dark planet might actually exist out there in the deep. This theoretical Planet 9 is estimated to be incredibly far away, like 10,000 times the distance between the Earth and the Sun. It's too dark to see, but its gravitational ghost might be calling out to us once again. But considering the saga of Percival Lowell and that dirty gearbox, it definitely makes you wonder. As we look deeper into the cosmos today, relying on ever more complex instruments, processing petabytes of data, what other hidden errors might be shaping our view of the universe right now? What other uncalibrated gearboxes are out there hiding in plain sight? Keep questioning the data, keep looking up, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.
The universe doesn't care about us. It never did. But we care about it. And that is what makes us extraordinary. If this video made you think, hit like, share it, and subscribe to this channel. Because the next mystery is even deeper. Until then, stay curious and keep looking up.